With hearts filled with determination and minds set on the future, Chioma and James marched forward, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. For they knew that as long as they had each other, they could overcome anything that stood in their way. As Chioma and James returned to Umuika Village, they were met with a mixture of joy and skepticism from their people. Some greeted them with open arms, rejoicing in their miraculous reunion and the hope it brought to the kingdom. Others, however, remained wary, their doubts lingering like a shadow over the joyous homecoming. Undeterred by the skepticism that surrounded them, Chioma and James set to work rebuilding trust within their community. They knew that action spoke louder than words, and so they devoted themselves wholeheartedly to the task at hand. Together, they worked tirelessly to aid in the reconstruction efforts, lending their strength and expertise to those in need. They listened to the concerns of their people, offering comfort and reassurance in times of doubt. But perhaps most importantly, Chioma and James remained steadfast in their love for one another, their bond serving as a beacon of hope in a world still reeling from the scars of war. They refused to let the doubts of others tear them apart, holding on to each other with a strength that could not be shaken. As days turned into weeks, the doubts that had once plagued their people began to fade away, replaced by a renewed sense of hope and unity. Slowly but surely, Chioma and James began to rebuild the trust that had been lost, forging a path forward together as a beacon of strength and resilience. And though the road ahead would not be easy, Chioma and James faced the future with unwavering determination, knowing that as long as they had each other, they could overcome any obstacle that stood in their way. Just as Umuika Village began to heal from the wounds of war, a new threat loomed on the horizon. Rumors spread like wildfire of dark forces gathering in the shadows, plotting to overthrow the fragile peace that Chioma and James had fought so hard to achieve. At first, the rumors were dismissed as mere whispers of paranoia, the remnants of a kingdom still haunted by the memories of past battles. But as strange occurrences began to plague the land, crops withering, livestock falling ill, and strange omens appearing in the night sky, it became clear that something sinister was at play. Chioma and James knew that they could not ignore the signs any longer. With a sense of urgency burning in their hearts, they set out to uncover the truth behind the mysterious disturbances, determined to protect their kingdom from whatever dark forces threatened to tear it apart. Their journey led them deep into the heart of the wilderness, where ancient ruins lay hidden beneath the tangled undergrowth. As they explored the crumbling remnants of a forgotten civilization, they uncovered clues that hinted at a dark and powerful magic at work. With each discovery, their sense of unease grew, and they knew that they were running out of time. They redoubled their efforts, scouring the land for any sign of the elusive enemy that lurked in the shadows. But just as they were on the verge of uncovering the truth, disaster struck. A powerful storm swept through the kingdom, leaving devastation in its wake. Homes were destroyed, fields flooded, and chaos reigned supreme. As Chioma and James surveyed the wreckage, they knew that their kingdom was more vulnerable than ever before. The dark forces that threatened them were growing stronger by the day, and they realized that they would need to act quickly if they were to stand any chance of stopping them. With resolve burning in their hearts, Chioma and James vowed to protect their kingdom at all costs, no matter what dangers lay ahead. For they knew that the true test of their love and strength was yet to come, and they were prepared to face it head-on. As Chioma and James delved deeper into their investigation, they uncovered disturbing truths about the nature of the dark forces that threatened their kingdom. It became clear that they were facing an ancient evil, a shadowy entity that had lain dormant for centuries, biding its time until the moment was right to strike. With each revelation, their sense of urgency grew, and they knew that they were running out of time. They sought counsel from wise sages and powerful sorcerers, gathering knowledge and allies in their quest to combat the darkness that threatened to engulf them. But the shadowy entity was cunning, and it seemed to anticipate their every move. It sent forth legions of minions to thwart their progress, laying traps and weaving illusions to lead them astray. Despite the dangers that lurked around every corner, Chioma and James pressed on, their determination unwavering in the face of adversity. They knew that the fate of their kingdom hung in the balance, and they would not rest until they had vanquished the darkness once and for all. As they journeyed deeper into the heart of the wilderness, they encountered ancient guardians and powerful enchantments that tested their strength and resolve. They fought bravely against overwhelming odds, their love for each other serving as a guiding light in the darkest of times. But just as they thought victory was within their grasp, tragedy struck. In a moment of desperation, James was ensnared by a powerful curse, his very soul threatened with eternal damnation. Chioma's heart shattered at the sight of her beloved in torment, but she refused to give up hope. With the help of their allies, she embarked on a perilous quest to break the curse and free James from the shadow's embrace. As Chioma embarked on her quest to break the curse that ensnared James, time became their greatest adversary. With each passing moment, James's condition worsened, his very essence slipping away into the clutches of the darkness that threatened to consume him. Driven by a fierce determination, Chioma pushed herself to the limits of her strength and beyond. She delved into ancient tomes and consulted with powerful sorcerers, searching for a way to unravel the curse that held James captive. But the shadowy entity that had cursed James was a formidable foe, its power rooted in ancient darkness that defied even the most powerful magics. Despite Chioma's best efforts, she found herself facing insurmountable odds at every turn. Yet, she refused to give in to despair. With the help of their allies, she pressed on, her every thought consumed by the need to save James from his fate. As they journeyed deeper into the heart of the wilderness, Chioma and her companions encountered trials and tribulations that tested their resolve. They faced monstrous creatures and treacherous terrain, their every step fraught with danger. But Chioma's determination never wavered. She drew strength from the love she bore for James, her every action fueled by the desperate desire to see him free from the shadow's grasp. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Chioma uncovered a glimmer of hope. Hidden deep within the heart of an ancient temple, she found a relic of untold power, a talisman said to have the ability to break the curse that held James captive. With trembling hands, Chioma grasped the talisman, her heart pounding in her chest as she prepared to face the final confrontation with the shadowy entity. She knew that the fate of her beloved hung in the balance, and she would stop at nothing to see him free from the darkness that threatened to consume him. Armed with the talisman of untold power, Chioma and her allies braced themselves for the final confrontation with the shadowy entity. They ventured deep into the heart of the wilderness, where the darkness that had ensnared James lay in wait. As they entered the shadowy realm, they were met with a scene of desolation and despair. The air crackled with dark energy, and the very ground seemed to write with malevolent intent. With a sense of trepidation, Chioma and her companions pressed forward, their every step bringing them closer to the heart of the darkness that threatened to consume them. They knew that the battle ahead would be their most perilous yet, but they refused to let fear deter them from their goal. As they neared the epicenter of the darkness, they were met with a formidable adversary, a towering figure cloaked in shadow, its eyes burning with malice. It spoke in a voice that chilled Chioma to her very core, promising destruction and despair to all who dared oppose it. But Chioma would not be swayed. With a defiant cry, she brandished the talisman of untold power, its light blazing with a brilliance that banished the shadows that surrounded them. With a roar of rage, the shadowy entity lashed out, its tendrils of darkness reaching out to ensnare Chioma and her companions. But they stood their ground, their resolve unbreakable in the face of overwhelming odds. With every strike of the talisman, the darkness began to recede, its grip on James weakening with each passing moment. Chioma poured every ounce of her strength into the battle, her determination unwavering in the face of adversity. And then, in a blinding flash of light, the darkness was vanquished, its hold on James shattered once and for all. With a cry of triumph, Chioma rushed to James's side, her heart overflowing with joy at the sight of him free from the shadow's embrace. As the darkness dissipated, Chioma and James found themselves surrounded by a warm glow of light, a stark contrast to the desolation that had consumed them moments before. They clung to each other with tears of joy streaming down their faces, their hearts overflowing with relief at the sight of their newfound freedom. With the shadowy entity defeated, the land began to heal, its scars fading away as if they had never been. The sun broke through the clouds, casting a warm glow upon the world below and heralding the dawn of a new era of peace and prosperity. But amidst the celebrations, Chioma and James knew that their journey was far from over. They had faced unimaginable trials and tribulations, but their love had remained steadfast through it all. Now, they looked forward to a future filled with hope and promise, knowing that as long as they had each other, they could overcome any obstacle that stood in their way. As they returned to Umuika Village, they were greeted with cheers and applause from their people, who hailed them as heroes and saviors of the kingdom. But for Chioma and James, their greatest reward was the love they shared and the bond that had carried them through even the darkest of times. Together, they set to work rebuilding their kingdom, their every action guided by a sense of purpose and determination. They knew that there would be challenges and obstacles to overcome, but they faced the future with unwavering resolve, knowing that as long as they stood united, they could overcome anything that stood in their way. And so, as the sun set on the horizon, casting a warm glow upon the land, Chioma and James stood hand in hand, ready to face whatever the future held. For they knew that as long as they had each other, they could weather any storm and emerge stronger than before. In the aftermath of their victory, Chioma and James dedicated themselves to the monumental task of rebuilding their kingdom. Together, they worked tirelessly, overseeing the reconstruction efforts and providing support to those who had lost everything in the wake of the darkness. Their love for each other served as a guiding light, inspiring their people to come together in solidarity and unity. With each passing day, the scars of war began to fade, replaced by a renewed sense of hope and optimism for the future. But even as they focused on rebuilding their kingdom, Chioma and James remained vigilant, knowing that the threat of darkness still lingered on the edges of their world. They bolstered their defenses and strengthened their alliances, preparing for whatever challenges lay ahead. As they worked tirelessly to restore Umuika Village to its former glory, Chioma and James found solace in each other's arms. They cherished every moment they shared together, grateful for the love that had sustained them through even the darkest of times. But amidst the chaos of rebuilding, a new threat emerged, one that threatened to shatter the fragile peace they had fought so hard to achieve. Rumors spread of a powerful warlord gathering forces in the east, intent on conquering all who stood in his way. With a sense of urgency burning in their hearts, Chioma and James knew that they could not ignore the threat that loomed on the horizon. They rallied their allies and marshaled their forces, preparing for the inevitable clash that lay ahead. As they stood on the brink of war once more, Chioma and James vowed to protect their kingdom at all costs. For they knew that the true test of their strength and resilience was yet to come, and they were prepared to face it head-on, together. As whispers of the warlord's impending invasion grew louder, a sense of unease settled over Umuika Village. Chioma and James knew that they could not afford to underestimate the threat that loomed on the horizon. With each passing day, the tension in the kingdom grew palpable, as if a storm were gathering on the horizon, ready to unleash its fury upon the land. Despite the looming threat, Chioma and James refused to cower in fear. They bolstered their defenses, fortifying the walls of their kingdom and rallying their allies to stand united against the coming storm. But as the days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months, the warlord's forces remained ominously silent, like a predator stalking its prey in the shadows. Chioma and James knew that it was only a matter of time before the storm broke, but the uncertainty weighed heavily on their hearts. With each passing day, the tension in Umuika Village grew thicker, like a suffocating blanket that threatened to snuff out the light of hope. But even in the darkest of times, Chioma and James refused to lose faith. As they stood on the brink of war, they drew strength from the love they shared and the bond that had carried them through even the most dire of circumstances. Together, they faced the uncertainty of the future with unwavering resolve, knowing that as long as they stood united, they could weather any storm that came their way. And so, as the kingdom of Umuika Village braced itself for the coming conflict, Chioma and James stood at the forefront, ready to defend their home and their people against the forces of darkness. For they knew that the true test of their strength and resilience was yet to come, and they were prepared to face it head-on, together. The long-awaited storm finally broke upon the kingdom of Umuika Village, as the warlord's forces descended upon them like a tide of darkness. Chioma and James stood at the forefront of the defense, their hearts heavy with the weight of responsibility. The clash was fierce and relentless, with the sound of clashing swords and cries of battle echoing through the air. Chioma fought with the ferocity of a lioness, her every strike fueled by the desperate desire to protect her home and her people. Beside her, James fought with a skill and determination that belied his injuries, his every move a testament to the strength of his spirit. Together, they stood as beacons of hope in the midst of chaos, inspiring their allies to fight with unwavering resolve. But the warlord's forces were relentless, their numbers seemingly endless as they pressed ever closer to the heart of Umuika Village. Despite their valiant efforts, Chioma and James knew that victory would not come easily. As the battle raged on, Chioma and James found themselves pushed to their limits, their strength waning with each passing moment. But even in the face of overwhelming odds, they refused to surrender. With a final surge of determination, Chioma and James rallied their allies for one last stand, their hearts burning with a fierce determination to defend their home to the very end. And then, in a blinding flash of light, the tide of battle turned. With a mighty roar, the warlords' forces were driven back, their ranks shattered by the ferocity of Umuika Village's defenders. As the dust settled and the echoes of battle faded into the distance, Chioma and James stood victorious, their kingdom saved from the brink of destruction once more. With tears of joy streaming down their faces, they embraced each other, their love shining brightly in the aftermath of the storm.